I was first on the scene to a van versus cyclists. As I'm approaching the scene, I just see the destruction everywhere. Coming up to the patient, to be honest, I was not expecting much. I wasn't expecting many signs of life, and that's a horrible thing to walk into. You know, it's on the road, so you've got onlookers everywhere wondering what's going on and, you know, how can I help and what can I do? So I go up to the guy and he's breathing, and it's just the best thing in the world when, you know, all this horrible things are happening and, you know, this patient's breathing and you think, oh yes, half the job's done. So I'm talking to this patient and holding his head and telling him about, you know, you must have had a great bike ride before this and how are you feeling, and, you know, grab my hand if you're feeling any pain. So once the ambulance arrived, the officer comes into the head and he stabilises the head and I move down to the torso. We get him stabilised to the best of our ability and we put him in the back of the ambulance. I'm sitting next to him and the other ambulance officer is sitting at his head, helping out his airway and his oxygen intake. Even though he's unresponsive, I'll still talk to him. And I said, look, you're not looking good, so if you want to pull through this, you've got to start working. I was holding his hand and I noticed a ring finger. I thought, oh no, this guy's got a wife. And he looked to be about 40, maybe 50 years old, so I'm thinking he's got a family. You know, you don't want to be thinking this when you're in the mood, when you're in the scene with the patient. So I'm thinking, okay, let's talk about your family. What's your wife's name? He's not talking to me, but I'm talking to him. What's your wife's name? How many kids you got? And all of a sudden he grabs my hand and he grabbed it so tight that I just couldn't even, I was just like, oh my gosh, he's here. He's actually here. He's breathing, he's here, it's okay. So I keep talking to him. And he would go in and out of consciousness, and, you know, I stopped squeezing my hand and he would start squeezing it again once I start talking about his family. So I was like, cool, I've got the key to keeping him conscious. We put him into the helicopter and we sent him on his way. That was it. You know, you see patients, you send them off and you never know how they're going to do or how they're going. But on that day, there was media at the scene and they took a photo of me over this patient and, you know, chaos around, and that was front page news. And his wife took the photo to the station and said, does anybody know this woman? And it was me in the picture. And because I'm not from the area, nobody knew who I was. So she called and she emailed and she worked for about a month to try and find me. Eventually she found me. She found out that I wasn't, you know, from the area, but that I just stumbled across this crash, and she called me up and she said, in tears on the phone, thank you so much for helping me and bringing my husband home. And he was alive and he was breathing, and I said, that's just fantastic. That's the best news that you could ever hear from your patient. I can't even describe how magic that was for me to know that what I did saved his life, and that's pretty much what we do. Yeah, sorry.